Hi, my name is Kelly Miller, and I chose to do my second career profile on a daycare owner or director. I chose that because I don't plan on getting my PhD or my master's degree, so I went with something that would still just require a bachelor's degree. The person I talked to, his name is Sarah Crozier. She owns her own daycare center. It's a bilingual daycare center. She has a background in Spanish, so she does bilingual childcare and preschool. She and her husband own the daycare together. It's a small organization. They started out in the downstairs of their home. They live on the upstairs, and then they have the downstairs as their preschool, but they grew to large enough that they ended up buying a second home and putting most of the daycare in that home. Their backyards connect, and they have the preschool in the downstairs of their home, and then the baby 6 weeks to 3 years in the other home. They're large enough that they have a waiting list to get into their daycare facility. They have staff. It's not just the two of them. They have staff. They're open from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening, Monday through Friday, and they do all the administrative work, all the planning. All of that is after hours, so their week is very long. They're at the daycare when it's open. Sometimes they take time off, but one of them is usually there. And then after hours, they do the curriculum planning, the administration work, all the stuff that goes into. They also have to have 30 hours of training, state required training per year, and they have 2 staff meetings every month, and those are all on the outside of their daycare hours. So it's a lot of work. The typical stressors for them is it is a family business for them, so it does bleed into their family life. So they have to watch out for that. The biggest stressor they said is working with the parents. They love the kids, but sometimes working with the parents can be difficult. Other things is that they have to collect all the money, so sometimes that can be a challenge. They have staff training, and staff retention are other stressors. There's also state requirements that they have to meet for record keeping. They have to fingerprint their staff every 2 years, and they have to maintain up-to-date immunization records. The typical benefits for them, because it's not owned by someone else, it's owned by them. The benefits is that they have a lot of time with their family because they do have children, and they get to spend a lot of time with each other and their family since they run this together. And they have flexibility in that, but they do not have any health care benefits. They have retirement benefits, but it's on their own. They don't do that through the daycare center. They do that on their own. Their common job tasks. They have babies and children from 6 weeks old to 12 years old. Sarah and her husband are responsible for the curriculum of all ages. They keep up to date state records, immunization records. They have advocacy meetings and IEP meetings. IEP is for those children that have learning disabilities or other disabilities that they need to meet special requirements for. They also keep all the books, all the records, all the payroll and accounting records for their business. The educational requirements. So Sarah actually, her education is fairly extensive. She has a bachelor's of art in education and a bachelor's of art in Spanish. She also has a master's of education with an emphasis in literacy instruction and a bilingual education endorsement. So her education is fairly extensive, but the educational requirements for in-home child care centers in our state, which is Oregon, is nothing. You need no education, but you do have to have a CPR training, first aid training, background check, and food handler's license. To be able to start a child care with more than 6 children, you have to also, to start out with only more than 6 children, you have to have the equivalent of associate's degree or 1 year in child care education or child care experience. Oregon actually is one of the few states that has a registry it's housed at Portland State University, and it is they keep track of all the educational records that any daycare provider or teacher gets, they just send it into PSU, which is Portland State University. That's where the registry is kept. Any schooling that they do, any continuing education that they do, any licensing that they do, all goes into that registry, and PSU keeps track of that for you and for the state. And there's different levels. It goes from level 1 to level 12, when level 1 would be just starting out. Level 11, actually, you have to have a master's degree to achieve a level 11, and you have to have a PhD to achieve a level 12. So there is some extensive education that can go into this. The starting salary, Sarah said, is probably about $30,000 with no experience or with little experience for a daycare director, and it goes to probably $50,000. She said you certainly don't get rich in this job. Miscellaneous career information for Sarah and her husband. This has just been the way that they could see that they could stay home with their children. They have 6 children or 5 children, 1 on the way, and they wanted to be able to stay home with their children until they got older, and that's how they've been able to do that, is by using her education to open a daycare center. And they do both Spanish and English. They teach the kids in their daycare, even if they aren't Hispanic background, they teach them Spanish in their classroom and stuff. So they do that with all the children. It's really a great center and has really good reviews and recommendations. They have like I said, they have a waiting list. And my information source, I went over there and I talked to Sarah Crozier. She's the owner, co-owner with her husband and operator of the daycare center called It's Me Escalita Bilingual Daycare and Preschool. Thanks.